What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and with Summer Game Fest coming up, we have a lot of people excited to see what's going to happen. Microsoft should be doing their presentation the day before it starts, which should be pretty cool. I'm interested to see what's on slate for them. And there really isn't anything slated for Sony or Nintendo, I don't think. Sony just did their recent state of play, which I'm gonna watch. I have to watch that shit, y'all. Work has been so crazy, and this is about to get crazier. Summertime. Um, if you like working in, I guess you could say I work in the tourism industry in a roundabout way. If you work in that industry, you know what I'm talking about, especially since I'm in the Washington D.C. area, where it's a hot spot for tourism. Um, all them damn kids, my God. Anyway, so I haven't really been able to catch up. Watch. It's funny when I saw they announced it, I was like, oh shit, this came out of nowhere. Like I'm gonna have to figure out when I'm gonna watch, and it's like with all these special events and stuff that I have to deal with, it just slipped through my fingers. And that's why Summer Game Fest is going to be so hard for me to keep up on. I'm going to try my best to, because we literally have events every day of the week for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I will be working on weekends, which sucks because I finally get a job where I'm not necessarily required to work on weekends. And now all of a sudden I don't have to work on weekends. It's bullshit. Bullshit. Anyway, um, but of course, after the state of play, people had mixed feelings from what I saw. Saw a list of games. And I need to look at the trailers and stuff. That's why I need to fucking watch it. But I'm curious to see some of the stuff that they had. A couple of things jumped out to me. The fact that they're going to reinvest in Astrobots says something. It's so wild because Astrobots has always been like, at least for the last 2 generations. Starting with PS4 and then moving on to PS5. Astrobots have generally been a concept of like, proof of product. They were a demo, a tech demo type thing. You had the Astrobots with PlayStation 4 that lets you see how the camera worked and using the controller worked and all of that. It was a tech demo for the PlayStation products that came with PlayStation 4. Flash forward to the Astro Boss game on PS5 that came free with it. It was, and I say tech demo not trying to dismiss the fact that they actually are games that you can play, but they're games that you could play that want to demonstrate to you how you can use the features on the PlayStation. That's what they've been. Again, tech demo. Like, you got the PlayStation 5 and you would use your DualSense in all the ways that it could be used in that game, and it like showed off the power of that. And now they're just putting out a game just to put out a game. Mind you, with all the talk about PlayStation 5 Pro, maybe it is another tech demo in some sense, as it's going to show the difference between how things run on PlayStation 5 and the Pro, if there is a Pro coming. But that's neither here nor there. I think it's cool that they're going to actually add another game to the franchise that's just not a launch thing. You know what I mean? But that's cool. That's cool. But in the midst of this, I saw an interesting opinion from a site called PlayStation Universe, where they basically made the statement that in this latest state of play, without showing all of the stuff that's being coming from the major in-house studios, they're doing a disservice to their fan base and to why people invested into the PlayStation community or universe or the PS5 by not highlighting and showing that they're going to have a constant flow of first party games coming soon, which kind of like irritated me because here's the thing: it's not like we're not getting these games; we're just not getting them now. And again, maybe part of this is because of the rumored PS5 Pro, but to me, I think we're in a weird state. And we give a lot of flack to Microsoft for the closings and things like that, and rightfully so. But at the same time, this can be addressed to them in some states where there's a lot of shifting and reorganization in gaming. People are trying to figure out now, like, what's the new flow or how they should do things. That being said, Sony has stuff that they have coming. They're just not rushing it out. And I'm not knocking them for that, It would be one thing if you didn't know that there were going to be other games. Like, we know that they're making a new Ghost of Tsushima. We know that they're going to be putting out a new Wolverine. If I had to have any criticism, it's the same criticism I have with all gaming studios. And I think I particularly have this for Sony now. Well, no, I can't say I can have it now because if you go into the state of plays that they've had, they've actually addressed that issue that I had where people aren't investing in the smaller games more. And Sony seems to be investing more in the smaller games more to kind of be there. And I know we don't like those smaller games, but, and I say we as in like the general public, because everybody wants to see some type of major AAA project. But I feel like the AAA market is something that's going to be scaled back overall from a lot of people. Because financially speaking, it's probably not the best route to sell your console. And it wasn't the route that Japanese consoles definitely weren't sold in back in the day. Like, a lot of Nintendo's success came from their in-house games, which came when they came, but by populating with a lot of these, like, smaller games, like creative games, studios taking a shot on things. Like, a lot of the franchises that we laud now came about because companies let people shoot their shot. Metal Gear was a shoot their shot thing. And it grew to where it got to before it ended. Same thing with the Castlevanias. All that. And I think, like, with the focus on the AAA model, like, so much in the last 20 years, we lost a lot of the shoot the shot mentality, which I'm glad to see is coming back. It's been coming back in recent years. You're seeing places like Devolver and other, like, independent studios just putting out, all these smaller games for people to get into, smaller creative games. So that's why it offends me when I say, like, when they were, like, saying they're doing a disservice to their fans. Not that they're doing a disservice to their fans. People, like, just need to realize that because you're into a certain thing, it doesn't mean that they're dedicated to just catering to you. And in fact, I feel like as we've moved on in time, there's more people who are a lot more interested in these smaller indie or second party type games, not necessarily triple A, but these in between games and below. that just give them a good time and give them something to do. It's just like Helldivers wasn't a huge fucking name, but this studio made a very good, entertaining game that people got really into, and it became a big thing. And that's how gaming had always been. Like, you would find those gems. Again, as I said before with stuff like Metal Gear, like, there were these hidden gems that just came out of nowhere, and they became a huge success. You know? But it seems like everything has to be ramped up to like a high level presentation in order to get a lot of people's attention. And I don't get that. I really don't get that. Like, I'm currently playing a game called Wild West. I'm sorry, not Wild West, Weird West, which is a Devolver release. It's a small kind of roguelike slash Metrovania like game that can be frustrating as hell, but at the same time, it's fun as fuck. And it's not a big game, it's not a big studio, but it's entertaining, you know? Not huge presentation, not something that's going to blow your mind graphically and technically, but it's fun as fuck to play. And, you know, sometimes it's okay to just play a bunch of games that's fun. And, like, a lot of those games that you saw in the PlayStation State of Play, it could be fun if you give them a chance. Everything shouldn't have to fit a certain box, but it is what it is. That's just what happens, you know, a lot of time. But yeah, to say that Sony is abandoning their fan base and not treating them right, treating the people who got them to where they were, it's kind of ludicrous, because if you go and look at a lot of those games, a lot of smaller games, a lot of like the Japanese influence games, it's all speaks to PlayStation's culture, or at least the culture that it was before this whole westernized like viewpoint of what gaming should be for these major consoles is. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, as always, you guys feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you're thinking. I'll holler at you later. This your boy Blak, making some out. Deuces.